Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Jason Factor where we're going to go from this to this. Okay, so first order of business is to remove the exhaust. You guys can see here I already did the left side. All right, guys, so after removing the complete exhaust, the next thing that had to come off was the drive shaft. So these particular cars have a two-piece drive shaft, but that really doesn't make it any more complicated to take it off. Just a few bolts and slide it right out. Up next, to remove the transmission, we're gonna have to remove this transmission brace, a bunch of connectors, electrical connectors. You can see I've already unplugged most of them. The slave cylinder is going to have to come off, and from the very top we're going to have to take off the shifter. Other than that, we'll undo the bell housing bolts and it should drop. Alright guys, so getting the bell housing bolts were pretty easy, except for one infamous one, which is at the very top. I don't know if we're going to be able to see where it is, but it's the very top of the bell housing. So what I ended up doing was removing the transmission brace, lowering the transmission from the back a little bit. So essentially I'm just tilting the whole engine and transmission at the same time. And then I went in from back here all the way to the top. Now to do that, I basically had to put a bunch of extensions together. So this thing, believe it or not, ended up working like a charm. All right, guys, so just like that, we got the transmission out. It took about an hour and a half. It wasn't too painful. And for once, we actually got a nice surprise. Found out that it has an ACT clutch. Well, that surprise about the ACT clutch in there was short-lived because, as you guys could see, the clutch disc is completely worn out, so that'll have to be replaced. I'll most likely just replace the whole clutch kit. No need for anything this aggressive. I'm probably going to go somewhere around 500 crank horsepower. The good news is, though, it does have a nice lightweight aluminum Fidenza flywheel in there. So all I got to do is replace this friction disc, which shouldn't be too bad, probably about $100 or so. Okay, so we got the exhaust out, we got the transmission out. First thing tomorrow morning, a really good buddy of mine by the name of Steve is dropping by. He's gonna help me pull the motor out. Steve's actually a mechanic by trade, one of the best that I've ever met, and should have no issues at all pulling out this motor. He was actually the mastermind behind my RX-7 build, and I've seen what he can do. So he should have this motor out in about 5 or 10 minutes. Anything longer, and actually I'm gonna be pretty disappointed in him. So we're gonna pick up where we left off in the morning.
Look at my pants are staying on. A little rusty. There you go. Now you want to plug that? That's this one great. Let's drop it.
Uh-oh.
Ah, never mind. Here. Okay, we went your way. And then my way.
Outside.
But I don't want it because there's a video.
All right guys, so just like that, the engine is out, and on the engine stand, we did notice a couple of quick issues, like the motor mounts are shot, so those will have to be replaced. A bunch of oil leaks, but hey, that's exactly why we pulled this motor, so we can take a look at everything and fix everything up. All in all, it wasn't too hard to get this engine out, but that's probably because Steve did most of the heavy lifting on it, and I got to just sit back and watch. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. As usual, thank you so much for sticking around. Please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to comment. And if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Not a mechanic.